Hi, welcome back to Season 1 Use Your Stash Paper Scraps Edition. Today's idea actually goes back a few years. In early 2021, I taught a technique in my private crafty carrot classes where we wove leftover paper strips together to create a background. And it was a really satisfying way to use up those little narrow off-cut strips. Recently, while flipping through the June 2021 mini catalogue, I came across this project here that had a similar woven concept. This one's got lots of lovely bright tones, and I loved that this version has a focal image instead of just a simple sentiment. So for this challenge, I've pulled that technique back out and we're building on it. I started playing with some paper strips in my collection, which you can see here. And I started actually with this paper here because I wanted to create a feminine card, and I thought this was fun and would be a great inspiration. So just like in challenge 4, when we let the colors of the patterned papers guide us a little bit, I did that with this card too. So I've gone with pinks, some oranges and some reds based on that inspiration. And I also wove in, because I had the purple scraps sitting really close, I wove in some of that really deep Concord crush. And I've paired that one today with an image that could stay mostly white because there was so much happening in that background. I thought that that was a fun idea. Something bold but not heavy in colour. So I thought what I'd do today is take those same ideas, finish putting this card together, but also I wanted to create a variation with you today using this chicken here from the Hey Birthday Chick. I feel like it kind of meets that same criteria. Really bold, cute image that doesn't need to be heavy in the colouring. I've got a bunch of strips here that I've trimmed, and now it's just a matter of starting to play with a weave and seeing how it comes together. I'm going to start with a piece of this Pacific Point, this brighter blue, and I'm going to use those as my edge bits. This one is coming over, so this one needs to go under, and it's the same with the other side. This one is going under, so this one needs to go over. Not worrying too much about structure, just the look of it at the moment. You can start gluing pieces down if you want to, but for me, I want to get a feel for the patterns first and feel really confident before I start any gluing. Because this piece is short, I'm being mindful to put it in a space where it's going to be hidden behind whatever focal point we have in there. So I've got to 8 along here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So just 3 more strips. As it's come together, it's started to have more structure. So it becomes easier to do the weave. And you can see that it's holding. None of this is glued down, but as you push it all in together, it holds well. So far I'm liking how that's coming together. Now that I'm in a space where I'm happy with the patterning, I think what I'm going to do is just see how there's gaps, and I'm just pushing each piece up one at a time to fill those gaps and help it all sit neatly. There we have a really rustic woven background in these fantastic colors. Now, this looks overwhelming to look at for me. I wouldn't normally create something that's so busy, but trust me, we're going to do the next steps and it's going to look amazing. This die shape here comes from the Stitched So Sweetly dies. I could have gone dead center, but I've chosen to go a bit down and off to the side because I want room for a sentiment here, I think. So I've got some smoky slate and my blender pen. When I'm coloring something that's gonna be very white, like I did here for our unicorn, I like that little soft shadowing detail. I feel like that just helps it pop a little bit from the page. It's always a good idea to make sure your blender pen is clean before picking up your fresh ink. And test your color because you don't want it to come on too heavy. And I'm just going to do a little grey shading in some spots where maybe if the light was coming across here, it would hit. When colouring, I like to go light at first because you can always add more, but you can't take it off later if you don't like it. Now that's super subtle. You probably can't see from there, but I feel like it just lifts it from the page just a little. Now I'm going to add some colours just to a few key spots based on the colours we chose in our pattern papers. So I've grabbed a few colouring tools from my stash. I've got my Melon Mumbo, which was the deepest pink in this pattern that first inspired us. I've got Bumblebee, and I've also got here, this marker is Mango Melody. So I thought for the top plume, it might be nice to have the deeper pink. I thought the orange, the Mango Melody might work for the little beak. And just for a tiny spot of colour, I thought the Bumblebee might be cute just to go over some of these little lines in here, but I want it to be very soft, so I'm going to blend that colour out. I was just looking at his little feet and I thought maybe I could go over them with a touch of this orange as well. I just noticed in the wings, I missed these tiny little bits there. So that's been coloured only really simply, but I think with all of the detail going on in our background, that's going to work really well. So I went through my cardstock and I found just this really soft pink, and I thought that worked really well with the colours in these patterns here. So for the unicorn card, I've gone that way. I've trimmed all around. When I first put it together, I thought maybe it wasn't going to fit on a regular size card, but it has. I really like the way that's sitting on there. I added an extra piece of the purple here in my weave pattern because when I put it together, I realized I had an unintentional purple frame around 3 sides and it balanced out well when I added that piece there. The chicken card, I was drawn to lots of different options for this one, and I've actually just decided on the Flirty Flamingo, the brighter pink. I felt like that's a really fun, vibrant backdrop for all of these great color tones in here. I also added a little bit extra into my weave, just this scrap piece of bumblebee yellow. The reason I did that was the background color I was tossing up between the pink or this beautiful yellow, and I went with the pink in the end, and I just popped that in there just to keep that yellow running through the card. So I'm just going to trim up the pieces now of the background, just like I did here. and show you that process, and then we can land on sentiments and start sticking things down. So when it comes to sentiments, I'm looking at my fairy celebration and it says have a magical celebration. So I'm wondering, tying in with our lovely unicorn, if that might make a really nice match in for that. I've pulled out the happy birthday as well in the same font, so I can do have a magical birthday. We'll play with that a little bit and see. And for the chicken here, I thought I might just go with the word celebrate. I could do happy birthday as well. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm going to stamp a few options and see what I think. And here they are all finished. I did end up playing around with a few different sentiment colours, but in the end I chose simple black on white. With all that beautiful chaos happening in the woven backgrounds, it just felt like the calmest and most balanced option. I have to say, the weaving itself was surprisingly satisfying. There's something really enjoyable about watching all those little offcuts come together into something cohesive and bold. I'm really pleased with how bright and playful these turned out, and I hope this inspires you to dig into your own strip scraps and give weaving a try. If you do play along, I'd love to hear about it. Let me know in the comments. And if you're enjoying this scrappy series, don't forget to like and subscribe.